Welcome everyone to this month's Rare Birds Mentor Lab, Cultivating a Culture that Embraces AI Innovation. This is the first session of our Transformation and Change Management series. My name is Tegan. I'm the Partnerships and Community Manager here at Rare Birds, and today I'm joined by Dave Clare, CEO of Circle Leadership, who is a purpose-driven leader guiding organisations through complex challenges with a focus on simplicity and impact. To begin, and in the spirit of reconciliation, Rare Birds would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia. And I would also like to recognise the Awabakal people, the traditional custodians of where I'm broadcasting from today, and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. For those who are new to the Inspiring Rare Birds community, our mission is to support and promote diversity and inclusivity where opportunities in entrepreneurship and leadership exist equally for everyone. We are best known for our mentoring programs, but we also offer a wide range of educational masterclasses, such as the one today. We host online and in-person events, providing people the opportunity to build their networks and grow with the Rare Birds community. If you are interested in hearing more about what we do, please indicate your interest in the survey at the end of today's session, and one of the Rare Birds team will reach out to you to have a chat. Now, speaking of chats, over on the right-hand side of your screen, you will see a chat tab. Please feel free to use this to introduce yourself, make comments and connect with others. You'll also see a Q&A tab. We do have a Q&A session at the end today, so pop your questions in there and Dave, I'm sure, will be more than happy to answer them. We also have some signed copies of Dave's new book to give away. So if you have a look under the polls tab, you can share your experience. There you go. Good one, Dave. You can share your experiences and we'll be giving away a couple of those books as well. So I would like to introduce Dave. He has over 20 years experience in leadership and has led organisations through complex challenges, focusing on simplicity and purpose to create meaningful results. His hands-on experience and purpose-driven approach make him a trusted leader and mentor across various industries. As CEO of Circle Leadership, Dave has pioneered tools which help organisations evolve with impact. He also serves as an ambassador for the Global Company Culture Association and Inspiring Rare Birds. He's mentoring emerging leaders with us as well. He's an accomplished speaker and author. Dave has co-authored bestsellers on leadership and is releasing a new book come December. He is known for his humour and compassion, and he inspires leaders to embrace purpose and simplicity in building thriving workplaces. Welcome, Dave. It's great to have you here.
Tegan, thank you so much. It's so exciting. And I love hearing my bio because my mom wrote that because she's the only one who would speak that highly of me. So I'm so excited as a mentor and ambassador for Inspiring Rare Birds to have this opportunity is fantastic. And the ability to share something I'm really passionate about as well. So thank you for allowing this.
Oh, Dave, it's great to have you. I'll leave you to it.
All right. Can I share a screen now? Then I should be able to.
Yeah, you can share your screen.
Perfect. All right. So firstly, everyone, thank you for joining in. Those who are watching right now live, look forward to your questions as we go along. I know Tegan's going to keep her eye on the chat. And also those who watch this after the fact, any questions that come up that I can't answer, I'll be glad to do so. But I would like to just put a caveat up front before I share this with everyone. I am not an AI person. Okay, when I decided to write the book Humane or this presentation that I've developed, which I've been sharing around the world a lot lately, was because I noticed that everyone's talking about AI through, its process improvement, productivity improvement, what it can do for profitability, all this sort of stuff, and competitive nature in business. But nobody was talking about it through the lens of people and culture. And so how do we create a culture that embraces AI innovation? Because AI is not going to go away. But how do we actually create our organizations where people want AI and they don't fear AI? And that's what this session is going to be about. So I just want to make sure we're very clear on that as we go forward. I'll talk a little bit about AI stuff, and I'm happy to answer the questions of the experiences that I have with it. But this session is really about how do we look at AI through the lens of people and culture? and what does it mean to us as humans in adopting AI into our organizations and into our lives. So the first thing I want to start with is a fundamental fact that we are in our generation's most uncertain of times. Like, predictability is out the window. And we used to have all these predictive cycles where we would have 10 years of this, 10 years of that, and so on. But that's all out the window now. But I really believe that this should be the most exciting of times for us in organizations, because there's limited opportunity in predictability, but there's tremendous opportunity in uncertainty, because nobody has a clue how it's supposed to be done anymore. And we have all this stuff happening around us since the pandemic, and we go through, and we'll talk about some disruption cycles and stuff. But all this stuff is happening, and now we can actually go, what do we want to do with it? How do we choose to make the most of what's happening around us? How do we choose to respond or lead in these uncertain times? And I think that's really important for us to understand, because in uncertain times, please know this: bad businesses will not exist. Good businesses will survive, but great businesses will evolve. And it's really important for us in organizations to understand that no longer can we just sit there and put our head in the sand and hope this too will go away. Because the species that survives, or the one that evolves, is the one that's best able to adapt to the ever-changing environment in which it finds itself. I added the word ever in there because we are now in an ever-changing environment where we had the change cycles. We go, okay, we now need to go through a change cycle and change management. Those cycles are way shorter now, and disruption is the new change management. And eventually we get to a stage where disruptions will be happening so fast, we'll be going, well, what's after disruption? Because when the pandemic first came along, and we need a little bit of a history journey here, how many people out there heard the expression, oh, I just can't wait for it to get back to normal? And then we realized, oh, crap, it's not going to get back to normal. And then we had people saying, well, I guess this is the new normal then. And I was out there telling people, no, this is not the new normal. This is just the next normal. And we have to understand that this is the way the world is going to be now going forward. This is just the next normal. So we had what was normal, a disruption in this case, say the pandemic came along, then it created the next normal, which we thought, oh, okay, this is it. Then January 2023, a little bit earlier than that, but it rose to popularity in January 2023. This thing called ChatGPT came out, and oh my gosh, we could actually talk to and interact with AI all of a sudden. We were able to humanize AI, or create the sense of humanization of a technology that we could actually work with and talk to. And that caused a massive disruption, because how many people's plans got thrown in the bin in 2023 when they knew that ChatGPT, or roles got shifted and responsibilities started to change now that they could do this thing called ChatGPT. Then guess what? In the next 12 months or 24 months, a thing called quantum computing will probably come along, and that will change things again. So we are now in no longer these predictive cycles. We're in a flow of disruptions, and those disruptions are just going to accelerate. So how are we building our organizations in preparation for this? Right now, this is focused around AI, but you could take this concept and put it into anything that's about to happen. So that's why I wanted to share with everyone is, how do we build an organization and a culture that's ready to embrace AI, automation, quantum computing, whatever's going to come next, knowing that there's going to be the waves of disruption are going to come faster and faster than they were before. So what I found, which really still surprises me today when I speak to leaders and organizations around the world, is that they're still not focused. These organizations aren't focused. They're not innovating. They're not disrupting. They're not global. At least they're not thinking global. They're not reimagining. And most of all, they're just not ready. And this is where the biggest challenge for organizations are. I'll give you a harsh truth that I've been giving to all our clients around the world in this past quarter. Is 2025. If you're not ready by the end of 2025, you might as well say goodbye to your business, because when quantum computing comes in, if you're not at worst able to respond to it, at best lead in it, reacting will no longer be an option. That will be one of those bad businesses that just won't exist. Things are going to happen so fast that we can't even get our heads around them at the moment. So if we're not ready now, by the end of 2025, and you're still not ready, you're going to be in massive trouble. So we want to be able to respond to what's happening at worst and lead it at best. And this is what's happening in the world today. And I don't mean to be a doomer and gloomer, but I just want to educate people to get ready. Please get ready, and get ready now. Because my question to you is, are you waiting for a new business to come along and rub your nose in a future that you were destined to own, but you didn't do anything about it? And this is what we're challenging people on is, how many of us have had an idea? I had that idea like 12 months ago, I had that idea, and then someone's brought it out. There's somebody out there right now, every business on the planet is under threat, including ours, trying to find a way to solve a problem for somebody that we may not be thinking about, that could then come along and disrupt our whole industry or our business. So there's somebody out there already thinking about it. So if we're not thinking about it ourselves, how to put ourselves out of business, which is just putting our old way of doing business out of business, somebody else is doing it. Or AI is going to come along and people are going to use AI, because we won't lose our business to AI, but we'll lose it to somebody using AI better than us. And we need to be mindful of all this stuff. This is what's happening. Like it or not like it, you can deny it if you wish, but the fact is AI is not going away. Quantum computing will not go away once it gets here. These things are all going to happen. So how are we positioning ourselves from a leadership point of view in our organization and getting our teams ready to embrace this? Because if you don't, you'll do so at your own peril. And so here's AI. It came out and most of us weren't ready for it yet. Now, I'd written a blog post back in 2019 talking about automation and AI, and I thought the impact it would have of it, because one of our core values at Circle Leadership is to anticipate and act in advance, which is to have insight. And so I started looking at what this automation and AI at that time would do, not knowing that ChatGPT would come out in 2023 and totally flip the lid on everything. But most people aren't even ready for AI at the moment. And then now there's a thing out there called digital twins. So I don't know how many of you might be familiar with digital twins, but they can actually create a digital twin of your best people or yourself in your organization. And then when you're recruiting, you can actually have this digital twin that you can compare things to. Or when you build your AI factory, it can create digital twins of your team in the AI factory, so it thinks and acts like your top performers in your organization. This is stuff that's all happening right now. This is not science fiction anymore. It's reality. So what does that mean to us in organizations from a leadership or culture point of view? Well, I believe that we are at the beginnings of the biggest existential crisis we're about to experience that we've ever experienced in our lives. And that is, what does it mean to be human in the workplace? And that is going to be a big leadership crisis we're going to have to address. Because when we go and meet somebody for the first time and we introduce ourselves to each other, hi, Tegan, I'm Dave. Hi, Dave, I'm Tegan. The first question I'm going to ask Tegan is, so what do you do? And Tegan's going to go, well, I used to do this, but AI does it now. And like a lot of our identities as human beings has been attached to our work, what we do. And this is what's going to create this leadership crisis or this existential crisis, because we've been human doings for so long. And now AI is going to take a lot of that stuff away. Automation, things like that will take a lot of that away. Then who are we if we're not who we are? Sorry, if we're not defined by our work, then who are we? And this is where a lot of us have been defined by that. Now, I think work to us as human beings is critical. It is so important. It gives us a sense of meaning to be of service to something outside of ourselves. Paid work, volunteer work, it doesn't matter. So work is really important to us as human beings, but when our identity has been attached to it, and that identity is now possibly being a chunk of it or all of it being taken away in many instances, then I'm left going, well, who am I? So we don't even know what it means to be a human being anymore. And we've been so busy being a human doing that now we need to be able to help people. How do we handle through this? How do we actually tap back into what makes us uniquely human? If we can have artificial intelligence handle all the other stuff for us. So it gets back to us understanding, well, what is leadership actually all about? So how do we help through this existential crisis that we as leaders are also going to go through, but help our team through this as AI starts to come into our organizations more so than it already is. And a lot of us, by the way, are using AI and we don't even realize it. I was sharing with someone the other day that the predictive text on my phone is they're saying, oh, that's really cool. I said, that's AI. You use it every day. So it's already here. We're already using it. And sometimes we don't even realize that it's AI driven. Our Spotify song list, when it's going, hey, would you like us to recommend other songs that similar to what you have on your song list? That's AI. So we're using it already, right? So if people out there going, well, I don't use AI. Yes, you do. I'm most likely, and you just don't realize it. So anyway, so getting back to the sense of leadership, what I like to ask people is, what does leadership mean to you? But for the sake of this webinar here, I will just share with you our definition of leadership that we use at Circle Leadership, which is fundamentally this. Leadership's all about helping other people become the best version of themselves to do their life's best work while in your care and beyond. Okay, so it's about having other people become their best to do their best while in your care and beyond. Now, in that definition, you do not need a position or title to demonstrate leadership. So in our organizations today going forward, we need to build leadership depth and strength where we can have all-around leadership, not top-down leadership in our organization. We also need to make sure that the last part of that says that I care about you as a human being first, an employee second. And this is so important when you think about that existential crisis and AI and the impact it's going to have on our organizations and our lives, is that we need to look at people as human beings. Every single human being that we work with or in our teams has goals, dreams, aspirations, hopes, desires, passions, interests, pursuits. And we need to look at them as those human beings first and employees second. And that's what this definition of leadership is so important in today's world now, as we look at how do we help people embrace that. If you look at me as an expendable commodity or a means to an end or as a resource, we have human resources. And then you're going to put AI into our business. I'm going to go, that resource is threatening me as a resource. And I'm going to be afraid of that, or I'm going to reject it or resist it. However, if you look at me as a human being and saying, hey, we want you to be creative and curious and imaginative and intuitive and all those human traits that you have, and we're going to give you this tool that's going to help you to do that, to help you to become even more of what you're capable of and tap into what makes you truly human, I'm going to go, give me that tool all day long. So it's really important to understand, what does leadership mean to you in your organization? And if it's understanding that it's here to help people be their best, to do their best while in your care and beyond, you don't need a position or title to demonstrate that. And I care about you as a human being first. So what is the future of work and the future of leadership? There's 4 things that are really critical that are happening in organizations today. I'm only going to share with the 2 things in this particular webinar workshop today. And that is leveraging new technologies, in this case, AI, and then how to build an invincible culture that actually wants to embody AI or embrace AI. And the other 2 I'm not going to go through in this particular session, but we definitely need new organizational models, and we need to make sure our leaders, we become coaches, not bosses. So let's talk about technology. Now, as a science fiction nerd myself, some of you may recognize these 2 characters, but for those of you who don't, the red and gold guy on the left, that's Iron Man, Tony Stark with his Iron Man suit on, and on the right is the original Terminator, T1. So when I talk to people about technology and, bringing technology into your organization, in this case AI, it's a tale of 2 futures. Is it a dystopian future where Terminators are here to eradicate humans from the planet? Or is it a utopian future where we have technology-empowered superheroes who are here to save the world and save the planet? So if you look at Terminator, he's a technology designed to overpower humans. And Iron Man, Tony Stark, is a human powered by technology. His Jarvis, his technology, and his Iron Man suit. So when we're introducing technology into our organizations, how are we making people feel? Are we making them feel like they're about to be replaced? Or are we making them feel like we're about to turn them into superheroes? How many of us wanted to be superheroes when we were growing up? I certainly know I did. And so you sit there and go, imagine if we could free you up to do the work that humans must do, spend more time with our clients, spend more time ideating and innovating and coming up with really cool ideas and challenging our processes and finding new value add offers to our clients and improving our systems and our processes. And actually you could do that in less hours than it takes to do what you're doing currently. And we've got this really cool tool that's going to help you do that. This really cool suit that's going to help you, or this technology is going to help you become a superhero. Would you like it? And I'm like, give me that all day long. And so when we introduce technology to our organizations, this is what we need to consider. And so I challenge everybody, if you want to bring AI in, make your team feel like it's going to be a technology that's going to turn them into a superhero. The challenge is we don't know what the work is that humans must do because we've been so busy doing the other work that we're going to replace with technology, and we're going to go, well, what am I supposed to do? And this is where leadership is going to become important. But what's happening initially, we'll address that in a second. What's happening initially right now is people are shoehorning AI into their business. Now, if any of you know what the purpose of a shoehorn is, it's fundamentally this, is to actually fit something else into something that doesn't quite fit. All right. So in organizations, we're trying to take AI and shove it into our organizations because we have to use AI, because all the gurus are telling us out there that we're not going to lose our business to AI, but we're going to lose it to people using AI. So we better start using it. So people are just throwing AI at the wall and hoping that it sticks, or getting people to free wheel, like use ChatGPT, use whatever it is, use AI and put it into our business because we have to use AI just to stay competitive. And that's not smart. But that's just all getting caught up in the hype. Implementing AI in an organization should be a strategic process, not just trying to shoehorn it in. Because this is the most important thing. If you take anything away from this today, this Clarism here is one I've been using so much lately, is you can't take a new way of thinking and shove it in your old way of doing and expect it to work. It just doesn't go that way. And so if AI is an amplifier, if you have a lousy culture, AI will amplify that. If you have an amazing culture, AI will amplify that. If you're an ethical person, AI will amplify that. If you're an unethical person, AI will amplify that. Right? So you can't take this new way of thinking and say, oh, we're going to shove this in, it's going to change it. We're going to use AI and our culture is going to be great all of a sudden. No, if you have a lousy culture, your culture will become lousier, I assure you. And people will start misusing AI in your organization. So what is the human AI element then? So how do we get humans to want to embrace AI? I think if we actually start looking at our people as human beings first, employees second, and we start understanding what the human AI actually is, when we start tapping into the AI that's already in our business before we introduce the technological AI into our business, we are going to have a far greater success rate. So what is the human AI? It's these things here. So I'm going to leave this up for a minute. So what I'd like you all to do, and I don't know if we can use the chat, Tegan, here. How many of you are already embracing the human AI? How many of you are already adopting ideation, encouraging and embracing new ideas in your business? How many of you are accelerating innovation, speeding up creative solutions? How many of you are amplifying the intuition that's already here, empowering your team to make smarter decisions? How many of you are applying inspiration, using purpose, values, and vision to drive actions in your business? How many of you are actually appreciating the intelligence you already have in your business by hiring smart people and getting them to tell us what to do and valuing their contribution? So if you look at these 5 things here on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not at all, or 5 being 100% all the time, rate yourself very quickly from 1 to 5 in each of those, and then add up your total score out of a total of 25. And if people could just probably throw in the chat, Tegan, if we can get people just throw in a number into the chat once they worked out where they're at for those who are online. Is that something we can do?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone can just pop their results in the chat and we can have a look there, Dave.
Yeah. I just love to get people. It's like, where are you in relation to these things? This is so important. And please be brutally honest with yourself. If you're doing, that's awesome. This is great. But these are the things we need to start doing before we implement AI into our business. So I'll just wait a second while people calculate these scores, and we'll just see if you can start yelling out the scores, because I can't see the chat right now.
So we've got a 20, we've got 17, we've got 21, we've got a 5 in there.
Yeah.
We've got a 23, a 9, 8, 20. We've got a range coming through, Dave.
Yeah, great. Well, firstly, thank you everyone for your honesty in this. All right, but so take a screenshot of this. I'm happy to make this presentation available at the end. By the way, I don't care. But if you want, and have a look at this, because this is the stuff you need to do first. If you want to bring AI into your business, and you should, totally agree that, but make sure that if you're doing this with your people already, and we go, by the way, I have a tool that's going to help you amplify all this or accelerate this. I'm going to give you a sidekick, something to augment that, not replace it. You're more than likely to go, yeah, give me that tool. I was having this debate with my dad the other day and talking about AI, and that my dad's an old school guy, cabinet maker by trade and technology. And I said, so Dad, when you were a young lad, did you used to bang the nails in with your fist and your hand and bang the nail in? He goes, not so stupid, we used a hammer. I'm like, okay, great, because it would hurt your hand if you did it, And then I said, in the later years, did you still use a hammer? He goes, oh, no, we used a nail gun. I said, well, how many nails could you put in with a nail gun versus hammering? He said, oh, we could go bang, 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 bang. I said, great. So you use technology to accelerate and be able to achieve more and less. And he goes, yeah, absolutely. And I said, that's AI, Dad. That's all AI is a tool that we can use. But if I could share with you how not to hurt your hand, how not to get RSI from using a hammer all the time, if I could share with you how to become the highest level craftsman you're capable of and do that at a far greater rate, would you be interested? He would have said, yes, give me the nail gun. And I said, like, hey, what do you think? And I got him to be involved in the process. People will then want those tools. And this is why this is so important right now in our organizations. When you're already adopting ideation from the people, you're already accelerating the innovation, letting them think and come up with really cool ideas, and they're using their intuition, and that they're feeling inspired by the work that they're doing. And you appreciate that they have some intelligence that they brought to the table. This is why you hired them in the first place. They're going to go, give me all the tools I can get to make myself even more. I'm in an organization where I can excel now and I can belong here, and you're going to give me all the tools. AI will not become an issue in your organization. People will be embracing it rapidly. So whatever requires creativity, imagination, intuition, curiosity, and empathy is the work that humans must do. Right? So when we start to think about that, what we need to be able to do is help people understand what work they can be doing, and that we can take this away. Because if you take that away, I don't know what I'm going to grab hold of, right? If I don't know what I'm going to grab hold of, I'm afraid for you to take what I have. But if I know, oh, that's more exciting, I'd like to grab hold of that, I'm more willing to let go of this. So from a psychology of how our minds work, this is what we need to do. So we need to be able to show people what the creative curiosity, the imagination, intuition, and empathy would look like in the workplace. And this is where we're going to help these people through this existential crisis. Because in my day, when I grew up, it was, Dave, you're paid to work, not to think. And I sort of half-heartedly joke with leaders now, and I said, the new catch cry for the future is going to be, hey, Dave, you're paid to think. And while you're here, if you have to do some work, that's okay. But let us know what it is, because we have to redefine what actually it means to work. Can you imagine going off, walking out the door going, hey, I'm off to think, dear. And where you're going to go, wow, I get paid to think. And because freedom to think is what actually unleashes creativity. Creativity is the key to innovation. Organizations do not run out of money. They run out of ideas and innovation. Ideas and innovations don't come from budgets. They come from people. And if we can give people tools to allow them to unleash their ideas and their innovation, and give them tools to accelerate or amplify that, or to assist them with that, they're going to want to grab hold of that. And then we need to make sure that our culture is set up to embrace that. So how do we build an invincible culture? And this is really important, because the reason I bring this in here is because our AI has to follow the same philosophies and principles as the human beings in our organization. We're building an AI factory for our organization in 2025. And that AI factory has to follow the same philosophies and principles as our human factory, if you wish, our workplace. So we're building an AI office, and our AI and our human office, they have to follow the same values, principles, guidelines, share the same purpose, the same mission, the same vision as each other. We can't have AI being able to do whatever it wants, and humans have to work to a special, a philosophy of principles. Both of them have to do it. So you need to have these in place so that the AI and the humans are all following the same process. And this is what most organizations don't forget. The purpose and values are going to become far more important than it ever has been, because these are our decision-making filters. So we need to make sure that the AI, as it's accelerating decision-making, it's going to accelerate that decision-making through the right lenses. Right? Because if you have chaos happening, it's just going to accelerate the chaos. If you don't have a decision-making process for your organization, it's just going to accelerate whatever it is that you have. So we need to make sure, if we want to empower our people to make smarter decisions, then AI has to follow the same principles and rules as our humans do. So there's 3 things you need to build in your invincible culture. And then fundamentally this, people are looking for something to believe in. I want to know that there's something to believe in an organization beyond creating a paycheck. If your organization only gives a crap about numbers, don't be surprised when you're one of them. And then don't be surprised if your organization only cares about numbers or profitability, that your people only care about a paycheck. If you only care about profitability, then your people will only care about a paycheck. People want something to believe in. Work should be meaningful. It should add meaning to our lives. So let's make work that is meaningful. So in order to do that, we have to have purpose. So first thing we need to do is something to believe in is purpose. Then they want someone to believe in them. That's us, the leaders, or you, the leader. Do you believe in your people? Are you empowering them to make smarter decisions? Do you trust them? Are you giving them the tools to be able to make smarter decisions, to create learning moments and coaching moments for them, so that we can build momentum? The faster we learn, the faster we evolve. So when I have something to believe in and someone who believes in me, the last piece I need is someone to believe in. And that's a leader with a vision of the world that's bigger than all of us combined. And, so if we look at this and we go, wow, I've got a leader I've got part of an organization where I get to do some really meaningful work in this world. And my leadership team believes in me, and they're empowering me to make smarter decisions. They're allowing me to be innovative and creative and use my curiosity and my imagination. They're allowing me to be free to think here. And then I also believe in where they want to take this organization. We want to create a world where work positively impacts people and the planet. Can you imagine what that would look like? Wow, I want to help build that future. And when you have those three things in place, you have the hallmarks of an invincible culture, which is your purpose, your values, and your vision of your organization. So we have something to believe in, someone who believes in me, and someone that I can believe in. And also our AI will have to work to the same purpose. Does that serve our purpose? Yes or no, AI? Will it reject any of our values? Yes or no, AI? Will it help us move towards the future world that we want to create, AI? Yes or no? And now we're building the decision-making filters that not only our team, but the AI team will also follow. And so if we look at, as I've already alluded to, if you want innovation in your organization, innovation comes from creativity. Creativity comes from freedom to think. In order to have that freedom to think, we need to make sure our teams can have some sense of responsibility. In order to do that, we need to be able to trust each other. In order to do that, we need to have a system of shared values where we're all understanding this is how we think around here. Not telling people what to think, but teaching them how to think around here, and teaching our AI how to think around here in the same way. So when our people are using AI, we're all on the same page cohesively, not only as a human and technology working in partnership through the same decision-making filters. And then in your organization, you'll have a purpose that will drive your organization and your AI, a set of values to guide it, a vision that will inspire you and the thinking of your AI. And you put all this into your AI factory, you put all this into your markdown files in AI, so that any decision, anything that you're processing will go through these, and a mission to evolve your organization, your people, and your AI factory, all of them through the same lenses. And this is what we need to do in our organizations going forward. So that we actually then create evolution as the natural state of our business. So as disruption flows come through, as I talked about at the beginning, rapidly, those waves start coming through that is just one constant thing of disruption. When everything is urgent, nothing's urgent. When everything's disrupting, nothing's disrupted. We're just constantly evolving. We're going to get to the stage where evolution is just the natural state of the world, which it is. And evolution will be the natural state of our business. And our humans and our AI will be able to evolve naturally with it. And therefore, we can respond at worst, lead at best, but never react going forward into the future. And then we have a culture now that is the ultimate filter for talent, and acts like a magnet and will attract and repel. It'll attract the right people to your organization. We have an amazing organization where here's why we do what we do. Here's how we think about it. The world we're creating, that you can believe in what we do. You can know we believe in you, and you can believe in us. We'd love you to be a part of it. And by the way, here's this really cool tool that's going to help you to bring all that and amplify all that for us and create this amazing magnet for our organization. And you will attract the best talent and retain the best talent. Because when your people can see the future of your business, they can see themselves having a future in the business. And they're going to want all the tools to bring that business into reality. So question for everybody. What do you think the dangers would be of implementing AI into your business if your organization did not have a clear sense of purpose or values? I'd like to get some thoughts in the chat here, and just tell me what you think. If we didn't have a clear sense of purpose or values in our organization, what are the dangers that could arise by implementing AI without that? So Tegan, if you want, just when people start putting in, just shout out some answers for me, that'd be great.
Yep, no worries. So we've got Neil saying losing top talent, Stephen coming in with confusion, losing key opportunities, lack of alignment, future revenue, low employee morale.
Yeah, these are all great answers. Faintly on the screen there, I put some ones in there, which is pretty much summarizing what everyone's already said. You'll have this narrative bias and inequity in your organization. Please understand that inequity is not good in our business. We'll have ethical concerns because AI can do what it wants and we can't do what we want, or we can do what we want and AI doesn't. We'll have all this misaligned objectives is critical as well. We'll have people, different agendas. We'll have competing agendas rather than completing agendas in our organization. Definitely a loss of trust. unintended consequences, because be careful what you ask for, you just might get it. And it really creates a short-term focus. Right? And when we're riding our bikes with our head down, we're more likely to ride into something. We need to be able to keep our eye up on the horizon and then look down every now and again, but to pedal hard, but we need to keep our eyes up and keep looking forward. And when we don't have these things in place, we don't know, we end up just looking at the short term. So this is what's really critical. And in our organization now, this is your decision-making filter. So once you've established these things in your organization, your AI would follow this exact same process. Does it serve our purpose? Yes or no? Will it reject any of our values? Yes or no? Does it take us towards our vision? Yes or no? Will it help us build the organization, our mission? Yes or no? Who would need to be involved? What's the cost benefit? Who and what would need to be involved in executing on that? And when would we do that? Does it fit in our 3-year horizon, our 12-month horizon, our 90-day horizon? So all of a sudden we can start training our AI to start making decisions and filtering its decisions or its thought processes through the same filters that we would encourage our team to do so. And then we have everything in total alignment. And once again, when everything's in total alignment, the tighter the alignment, the stronger the magnet. Right? And so now we've built a decision-making filter for our organization that everyone follows, including AI. And we don't have all those things that we've just discussed happening in our organization. So when you've put all these things in place, your organizational culture, your evolution strategy for your organization, your people and your AI will follow the same process. And this is how we make sure that we cultivate a culture that embraces AI, because if AI can do what it wants or humans can do what they want, it's not going to work, or it could be devastating for your business. So what can we do in our organizations, just to wrap up, and then I'll go into question and answers? We got to make sure that we're looking at people as human beings first, employees second. We need to make sure that we provide resources for our humans, not have humans as resources. How many of you want to jump out of the bed in the morning and go, gee, I can't wait to be an expendable commodity or a means to an end. Gee, I can't wait to make the boss rich today. These aren't things that get people out of bed in the morning. We need to make sure everyone has their own personal connection to purpose, so they know why it matters to them and why they matter. We've got to focus on when people what they punch out, not when they punch in and out. And this is a big one, because I think AI is the first time where we can bring technology into our workplace where we can actually achieve more and do less. So imagine what takes us 8 or 10 hours to do, we could do in 6. And I could spend 2 hours going to the driving range and practicing my golf swing. God knows I need it. Or I could do my guitar lessons, or I could spend time with my kids or my wife, or we could go to the gym. I could do gardening, whatever it is. I think this might be the first time in the world where technology could come along and actually help us achieve more and work less. We need to make sure we're delegating outcomes to people, not tasks to people, saying, here's what we need to accomplish. Tell us how to do it. And by the way, if you need some tools, here's this cool AI stuff that can help you. We need to get people involved in the work, involved in decisions about the work. We need to create performance leadership, not performance management in organizations, where we're lifting people up. And we need to make sure we build a culture and brand relationship so everybody loves why we do what we do. This is how we're going to create those organizations of the future that people are going to go, give me all the tools you got. Because then we can go, dear future, we are ready. You bring on those waves of disruption. Our culture is invincible. We're ready to grab AI by the horns and help it to turn our people into superheroes. And whatever else you got coming to our quantum computing will make our superheroes faster than any other superhero on the planet. We are ready. And this is what we need to make sure that we do and set our organizations up to embody AI into the world today. So having said that, I'm going to stop sharing that, and hopefully Tegan can come back on. And yeah.
Amazing. Thanks, Dave. There's some really interesting concepts in what you said. And I guess a little bit of reversal in the way we think about approaching work and what that looks like for us in the future. Now, I know we are running a little low on time, so I do have questions for you, because I think that there's some areas that I'd love to kind of get your insights on, but I'm going to throw it out to everyone here. If anyone has any questions for Dave, please let us know. Pop it in the Q&A, pop it in the chat. I will kick it off while we're waiting for some questions. But you said a lot around the leaders need to kind of change their way of thinking, change their approach to their teams and how AI is coming into it. Do you have any practical steps that leaders can take to help this shift?
Yeah, absolutely. Management is going to become obsolete. So management AI will be doing most of the things from managing of resources, scheduling, all that sort of stuff. So what's going to free us up as leaders to spend more time with our teams. So one of the best things that leaders can do is become a coach, not a boss. And I didn't go into that in that particular session, but is focus on coaching our people, not bossing our people, helping our people learn how to think and tap back in, because we're going to go, everyone now thinking, hey, we want you to be creative and innovative and intuitive and all this cool stuff that we've turned off for so many years. And also we're going to turn the tap on and we go, give us all your ideas. And that's going to take time for all that to get that flow going. So the things that leaders can do is start actually questioning and challenging and asking and getting insights and bringing people into the conversations and into the dialogues and giving them time and space to start tapping back into that creativity. You have to be patient.
Yeah,
right?
so we've suppressed it for so long with the busyness, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and we've been so busy doing, right? So the road to significance is paved with inconvenience. So be prepared for this to be inconvenient and have to shift the way you think about things and become more of a coach rather than director in terms of telling people what to do and when to do it. Yeah, and you got to be patient with people to respond to that because they're not used to it.
Yeah. We do have a question in here, someone openly admitting that their organization is not really using the tools that they currently have consistently, and now they're talking about AI on top of that. What do you think about that situation?
It's going to be chaos. No, you're not using it. Either if you're not using tools fully or properly, like I said, AI is going to amplify whatever's happening in your organization. AI will be an amplifier. If people aren't using things properly or ethically or correctly or not using them at all, AI is not going to add much value to that, or they're just going to use AI for convenience. It has to be tied to a strategy, right? It has to be strategic. And like I say, if you're not, I would be getting people won't understand why they're not using whatever you have already, or what is it they don't like about it, and really getting an understanding of that first, and going, okay, will AI help with that, or how could AI help with that, rather than just throwing AI in as well. Here's another tool in your toolbox you're not going to use or use properly. It's pointless.
Yeah, so I guess it's bringing the team along for the journey, like you've mentioned earlier.
Yeah, you have to. You have to get people involved in this, right? And find out. Here's the next slide. What we did with our team. There's only 4 of us in our team, but every single one of them. I want you to think about all the stuff that you can make a list of all the things that you're doing that are the routine, repetitive stuff that you wish you didn't have to do all the time. Great. Let's start with that and give us a list of all that. Then how can we use AI to start dealing with that? What are the ways, if you could bring AI into your role, what would be some of the ways you would love to do it that you think it would help you to free you up to do some of the other stuff, or to do some of the stuff at a higher level? Give me that list. Right. And so get them to tell you what it is, rather than me going, here's AI and you're going to have it, you're going to use it. Here's Copilot, you have to start using it now. Like, I want to know what they want. What is it that can help them? And when they own it, they're more likely to embrace it.
Okay, I've got another question here from Ariane. Do you think leadership is ready for this? In which industries do you see the biggest challenge gap where AI will be utilized heavily, but the likelihood of management changing is low?
Yeah. So give me that question again, just the first part.
I guess the first part, it's almost a two-parter.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you think leadership is ready for this? And which industries do you see will have the biggest challenge where AI comes in?
Okay, so is leadership ready for this? In most organizations, sadly, no. Are they still doing it? Yes, but are they ready for it? No, because I go around the world and I ask leaders at all conferences I speak at and everything like that, how many of you have purpose? How many of you have values? How many of you can tell me what they are? And then all the hands drop down. So everyone has it as on their websites, but nobody knows what they are, or very rarely 10% of the people in any room can tell me what their purpose and values are. And so they're not ready because they don't even own them themselves. They're not leading, living, and loving that themselves. And they're working in organizations that only care about numbers in most organizations. So there's a massive transformation that's going to have to happen. So most leaders are not ready for it because the organizational structure doesn't support it. Now, the second part was what industries?
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, our clients we're embodying AI, construction, manufacturing, they're all into it. A lot of the knowledge workers are not, even though you can use ChatGPT and stuff like that. And yeah, like AI will work in every industry, things like that. I can only speak from the experience that we've had, that a lot of professional service firms, like we've got some financial planner stuff. I introduced them to Otter 3 years ago, like as a transcribing service and the resistance was very high. And so it's fascinating for me that most professional service firms were resisting it, probably because it might have the most impact on people's roles. And whereas other ones like construction and manufacturing, they're embodying it because it accelerates their ability to be more productive.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That's the only insights that I have on that. So
yeah. We have another question here from Keith. How have you been able to motivate the change in leadership, which is risk averse and has vested interest and incumbency in the status quo?
By helping them understand that the status quo is going to be the death of them. That holding on to that, like I appreciate that they're risk adverse and things, but not everyone I've been able to help do this for. I understand, right? But for the people that we have, it's helping them see how staying the same is not going to serve them. And when we're staying the same as we are in a world that's doing this, even though we think we're okay, we're just staying the same, we're actually falling further behind. And it's the ability to help that person see and experience what that might feel like if they did get left behind. And then also showing them a simple, like just baby steps to move into this, right? Because sometimes we think, oh, could do all this, it's so much. What's one thing you could start doing today, this week, this month that would start to bring that into reality? And rather than saying you have to stop doing this and start doing that now, how do we help them just one step at a time, compounding interest, get them to transform into what they need to? And in a way that also, this is why when you put the frameworks in place, these control freaks, they want to control everything, micromanage everything and everything like that, is because they don't have the frameworks in place. So I'm not asking them to stop controlling things. I'm just asking them to control the right things. Take that need to control the frameworks, not the work inside the frames. And when you have that, you can do that. So baby steps, get the frameworks in place, and slowly but surely help them with that, and help them see the difference between staying where you are and where you could be. And then it's up to them, because I can't force them to drink the Kool-Aid, the AI Kool-Aid that's out there.
All right, I think we've got time for one last question. This one comes from Don. How does AI fit into the creative industries? What's been your experience with the creative industries, Dave?
Yeah, this is interesting because I wrote about this in the book, and it was one of the areas I wanted to look at. I want AI. I don't want AI to do the art for me. I want AI to take all the stuff away so I can spend time doing art, right? In the creative industries, like simply Spotify, it's helping get other songs out there because, hey, these songs are very similar to that song, so it's doing really cool. I think when you think about creative industries, copyright, how we're going to protect all this sort of stuff, and this is what I was touching on, is how do we actually, the creative industry is going to be one of the most interesting ones, because with deep fakes and all this sort of stuff that's happening, how are we going to protect the rights of the original artist, songs, paintings, drawings? I can copy drawing styles already. I can ask Dolly to create me a picture, this using someone, Escher's style of drawing or a Picasso style of drawing. And what does that mean to Picasso? I mean, appreciate he's passed, but current artists today, there's a lot of work that's still going to need to be done, and there's not all the answers yet. How are we going to protect those rights? People's voices, actors' faces, how are you going to protect all those rights? It's going to be interesting for the creative industry. And I have a lot of questions. I don't have a lot of answers in there because I'm not an AI person, but I did go through that in the book, and I what's going to happen here in trademarks and copyrights and, for songwriting. It's like, this is an interesting actually thing. Writers are going to become less valuable and editors will become more valuable. Whereas in the past, editors were kind of like the second-rate citizen in a process. AI can do a lot of the writing, but having a really great editor is going to be more valuable. So all of a sudden, we're going to have this transfer of roles and importance in the creative industries too.
Yeah, a bit of a watch this space then, is it?
Yeah, I love that. That's a great question. Thank you for that. But I'm sorry, I don't have a solid answer for it, but it was something I did explore because it was fascinating to me.
Yeah, great. All right, well, Dave, I want to say a very big thank you for sharing your insights on how AI is going to fit into our culture moving forward. Everyone would have seen a little pop-up for a survey. We'd love your insights and what you thought of today's session. Also would like to know what you want to hear about moving into the future from us. Also, if you wanted to get involved with Rare Birds, either as a mentor or become a mentor yourself, that's the place to let us know. We are always welcoming new mentors into our community. You can kind of come along and meet people like Dave.
Yes, become a mentor, please.
So thanks again, everyone, for joining. Dave, thank you very much. And I hope to see everyone again at the next session.
Tegan, can I just make one last offer?
Of course.
Anyone who has a question, if you send it through to Tegan, and she'll send them to me, I will answer them all and send the answers back. If you have questions that you didn't get answered here, please send them through to Tegan and I will answer them all.
Yeah, and I'll put in I'll make sure my email address is in the wrap-up email too. So if you do need to reach out, feel free. We're always here to lend a hand.
And did we give away the 2 books?
Oh, we didn't give away the 2 books. Okay, let's have a look. I might have to do that after the fact. I've got everyone's kind of responses and things. So if you want to quickly share your experience, I can kind of hold for a second. Or if you think you've got a really good experience and would like to share after the fact, send me an email. I'll share it with Dave. We always love a good story, and we will get in touch to give away a couple of his books after the session today.
Yes, we'll give you 24 hours to get your best experience
24 hours.
That's it.
There you go, 24 hours. All right. Looking forward to it. And thanks again, everyone. And we'll see you again shortly.
Thanks, everyone.